I've wanted to do this for a while. I started it, I guess, a little over a year ago, and then I got caught up in life and didn't get a chance to ever pick this back up again. But it's something that I kind of want to do because I need an outlet to talk about things that are on my mind, like a lot of people do. Radio gives me the outlet for some of that, but not everything, because you got to be careful with what you say. Not that this is necessarily a free-for-all, but, so kind of consider it my way to talk. If it helps people, great. If it doesn't, that's cool too. I don't judge. It's crazy. About a year ago, I took this job in Indianapolis for a bunch of different reasons. I was very content where I was. I was in my hometown, which was nice. I love the people that I was around on a daily basis for the most part, but my life has constantly been about the fact that I want more, and I felt like I had something to prove, felt like I had gas in the tank, so I took a job doing what I wanted to do, and then it was going splendidly, and then of course this thing called COVID-19 hit and changed the way everything happened. So I didn't have the year, I love it, but I didn't quite have the year I wanted, just based on the fact that, well, nobody did, I guess. So it's kind of strange to look back a year ago, which today's life as I know it is all about choices, and the choices we make and the things that we do, because nobody has all the answers whether or not you're supposed to turn left when you should have turned right or whatnot. And I would love to have a time machine. I think I would do a lot of things the exact same, but I think there are some things that I might do a little different. So I started, normally when I do these, it's about, entertainment type stuff and what I'm watching, what I'm listening to, which there's some cool music out there. There's some great shows out there that we'll touch on some other time. In fact, one of them is The Vow. If you're looking for something to watch, check out The Vow on HBO. I was kind of a Smallville geek because that show was on when I moved away from town for the first time, and I had my first job within the career of my choice, that it was kind of all me. But I spent a lot of time by myself, because the crazy thing about radio people is we go to different cities. We're not necessarily from there. You hope that they welcome you and you become part of that town, but until you do, you tend to spend a lot of time on your own for the most part. So you look for things to do, one of which for me was always, I watched Smallville a lot. So Allison Mack was one of the characters on Smallville. She got caught up in this strange, empowerment cult type group a few years ago called NXIVM. You might have heard it. Well, HBO did a documentary on it called The Vow. And the guy who was in charge of it, Keith Raniere, was kind of crazy. And you watch this show and you go, how did people fall for this? And then you go, WTF. But it's really easy to see that everybody needs to be told what they want to hear, and everybody has the power to tell somebody else something that matters to their lives. And if you believe the wrong people long enough, you start to buy into the BS that they're selling you, for lack of a better term. So she got caught up in that, and it's just really intense. It's 9 episodes long. Really, really intense show, and it's about some of the people who finally kind of woke up one day and went, this stuff ain't right. We got to get out of here. And there are methods to escape or whatever, but there were millions of dollars involved, and people were getting branded and everything. It's on HBO. I'm not going to tell you all about it. Check it out. That's what I'm watching. Album-wise, real quick, what I'm listening to. Love the new Greta Van Fleet record. Also love Harry Styles' record. Love Taylor Swift's album. And I'm a big fan of Smith & Myers of Shinedown. They've got a project where they're doing some new songs, and they're covering a bunch of stuff. And to hear them cover things like Billie Eilish and Adele is pretty damn impressive. So check all that out. But today, I wanted to talk about choices, because that's what life as I know it today leads me to. I threw up a picture because Facebook is really good about giving you your memories. I saw something of me 10 years ago, and I like to think that I was a kid, even though certain people will say that I was still much older. It was just weird to look back and see where I was. And at the time, I was doing radio in Michigan, and for all intents, I had it made. I had career job security, which is kind of rare. Had a pretty good thing going at the time, but there's just this part of me that wanted more. I don't know if it was me trying to prove to myself that I could do something or to prove to other people that I could do something. But either way, I probably wasn't as satisfied as I should have been, which, that's sometimes a great thing and sometimes not a good thing. But at the time, I had to get out of there, and this picture was probably about the time that I realized that I really needed to go. It took about a year for that to happen, but I really had kind of known that, my time was coming to an end there. But I look back now and I kind of wonder where I would have been if I didn't make that choice. Where would my life be? How would I be feeling? I may be a lot more stress free because these days the thing that comes with new challenges is there's a lot more stress that goes a lot along with that, and whether you want it to be there or not, it is. And it's, radio is kind of a very stressful thing at sometimes, and during COVID, I feel like I've been under more stress than I ever have been in my life. This stuff used to come very naturally to me, and I just kind of went with what I felt, and that instinct usually paid off. And these days, it's more stress, and it's more, I second guess everything, and I hate that. I really do. But that's who I am right now, and this too will pass. So COVID has changed a lot of things, and I kind of miss some of the things that it changed a lot. But at the same time, I hope we come out the other side a little bit better. But choices are weird because sometimes you make a choice and it doesn't go the way you want it to, and then it takes some time for that to kind of correct itself and for you to figure out if it was the right choice or not. It doesn't necessarily become instantaneous all the time. I mean, I feel like I made the right choice a year ago, and I stand by that, but tonight was kind of weird. I walked around to the grocery store. Because when I'm by myself, I tend to think a lot. But I went to the grocery store tonight just because, one, I needed something to eat for dinner, and two, I just needed to be out around people. You kind of shelter yourself for a while. You just need that human interaction. But it was weird to kind of look around and go, we are a mask-wearing society. Everywhere we go, we have some kind of facial covering on. It's kind of strange just to walk to the grocery store. And tonight, I actually forgot a mask, so I had to buy one just so I could go do my grocery shopping. Usually I keep an extra one in the car, and then I forgot that I took it out to wash it and didn't put it back in and drove the Jeep instead of the other car. So I didn't have one. So I'm like, well, there's $5 wasted on a mask, but it was necessary. But it was kind of weird to watch people walk around, and I had a conversation with a woman in the salsa aisle, which is kind of weird because I couldn't see her face, she couldn't see mine, and it was, she was asking me something about Mexican food, and I answered to the best of my ability. But it's just kind of strange, the society that we have become now, where sanitizer is on display and masks are on display, and you can tell the people that, I got my favorite team on a mask now, and I've got my, mask that matches what I'm wearing. So it's just a really weird society to kind of look around at. But anyway, on my way home, where I'm getting to my point, and I'm sorry for rambling, on my way home tonight, I was driving and I saw two African American gentlemen on the side of the road. Their hazard lights were on, and they were waving their cell phone like a flashlight in an attempt to get somebody to stop. And people just kept driving by, myself included. And then I thought to myself, man, if you go home and you see something on the news where something bad happens, you need to stop, even though it is kind of dangerous, because it was dark, it was rainy, it was a little cold. But I pulled over and I kind of rolled out my window, and I'm like, did you guys need help? And the guy's like, man, this is so embarrassing, but we're out of gas. And the first thing that rolled through my head was, here we go. It's another scam. This will be great. But I said I don't have any cash, which at the time was a complete lie, because I actually did have cash. Now, 90% of the time, that's true. I don't carry cash very often. I just happened to have some cash tonight. So I pulled over, and I asked, the guy comes walking up to my car and says, man, I ran out of gas. I told my brother to put gas in the tank. I gave him $20, but the gas gauge is broke, so now we're out of gas. We're trying to get to my kids. And he's kind of crying. And, in my head, I'm like, man, that sucks. Let me see what I got. And I was pulling out change, and I had $1, and then I didn't have enough change because I forgot I had emptied my change out of the car. And I just said, you know what? I didn't know what I should do. Like, I didn't know if I believed the guy, but he said that, was a good actor, I guess, maybe, I don't know, but had tears in his eyes and said, I need to get out of here. I need to get back home. I need to get to my kids. I need a blessing. And for some reason, that term hit me, and I don't know why, because I would not consider myself to be a blessing at all. I am at odds with everything and everyone in my life. I always have been, and I probably always will be. But for some reason, I reached into my wallet, and I gave the guy $20. And I wished him well, and I drove away. And as I drove away, I thought, man, am I like contestant number 5 who stopped by and gave money on this guy's scam? Or did he really need help? And I guess I will never truly know. I thought about, the things that he was probably doing, and then I made me wonder, like, how many people just kind of looked at a glance and thought the same thing I did and didn't stop, and somebody really needed help. And part of that is because radio, there's a couple of dark sides to radio, and this kind of thing, if you work in the industry I do, leaves you so effing jaded, because people will do whatever they can to win free tickets and concert tickets and whatnot and get into shows, and it's when we had shows to get into and whatnot. And it's kind of disgusting when you see what some people will do. And because of that, I am so on the lookout for scams, and I don't believe a lot of stuff, which is such a bad way to look at life, because it's tough sometimes when you really need to know if somebody really does need help. But that's what I thought of, the dark parts of radio, which is usually fear culture, because you're always afraid you're going to lose your job. 2, that technology is going to push you out the door. And 3, you're getting scammed. It's just one of those things that goes hand in hand. So as I drove home, I thought, well, maybe this guy scammed me, but maybe he really needed it. But I sure could use the good karma right now. So whether he took that $20 and got himself some gas, or he took that $20 and bought something else with it, I guess my noble intentions were still there. So maybe that counts in the karma department for me. So it's just one of those things where, choices kind of lead us down different roads, and we're faced with them every day, and you never really know if you're going to make the right choice. You just kind of do what you hope is the right thing sometimes, and sometimes you fail miserably, and sometimes you reap the rewards for it. And tonight, I don't know what I did. I guess I feel kind of good about it. Maybe, that guy someplace that I'll never meet again in my life does too. And, we'll just leave it at that. Hope everybody had a great Monday. I promise the next time I do this, I'll try to be a little more entertaining for the most part, but I feel like it's a good outlet. Feel free to join my conversations and hang with me. I'm on the socials a couple different places, at Lewis on the Radio, at Stephen Lewis on the Air, Facebook, Insta, Twitter. I don't use Snapchat because nobody needs to see any more of me than they already are. Have a great night. Be safe. Be well.